Hey guys, so today I'm going to be explaining every single irregularity of the preterite. So I do believe I have all of them. Nobody's perfect, but I believe I have every single irregular part of the preterite. And I'm going to go through them all today, give you some hints about them and some background. Alright, so first I got to start off with probably the easiest one, but teachers love quizzing on this. So it's Kargar and Czar. So basically if a verb ends in car, gar, or zar, it changes the preterite conjugation, only in the yo form though. So I'm gonna assume that you guys already know the normal conjugations for the preterite, but in the yo form, if a verb, any verb ends in car, gar, or zar, you want to change the car to k with an accent on the e. So for example, sakar is yo sake, kar yo toke, chokar yo choke, gar changes to ge, also with an accent, yo yage, pagar yo page, castigar yo castige, I punished. And then zar, c. This is probably the hardest one because it's only two letters, lanzar, yo lance, almorzar, yo almorce. And like I said again, just to reiterate, this is only in the yo form. There's no q's, no gus, or c's with the to form, the singular form, the nosotros, or any other form. So here's some examples. Yo saqué la basura anoche. It's not yo saqué, like with an a. Nothing like that. It's yo saqué la basura. Or yo almorcé a las 3 ayer. I had lunch at 3 yesterday. Yo llegué a la fiesta muy tarde. I arrived very late at the party. All right, that's pretty much Kargar and Czar. And now the other part that you most likely know, ser and Ir. So they're both excruciatingly irregular. And they do have exactly the same conjugation. But you kind of have to be able to discern them or tell them apart depending on the context. And I guess just saying this, they are regular, so it's not eos sieron, or for Ir, eos ieron. It's not like that, it's not normal. So it's yo fui, which means I was or I went. That's ser, and then the other one's Ir. To fuiste, you were or you went. El fue, nosotros fuimos. Nosotros fuisteis, and ellos fueron. So some examples. Ayer yo fui a la tienda para comprar desodorante. Yesterday, I went to the store to buy deodorant. There's the I went for Ir. And now for an example with ser, hace 2 días, ellos fueron molestos. 2 days ago, hace 2 días, ellas fueron molestos. Or in this example, I think it'd be molestosa. But you get the point. This is ser, and obviously from the context, you're not saying 2 days ago they went annoying. So, yeah. Okay, so this one is verbs that end in uir. And in here, they're singular and plural form, so the L and then the eos form change. You'd use Y. So for example, destruir, ea destruyo. You see the UIR, it's not ea destruio. You don't say that, 100% not. And for the plural form, you'd say eos destruieron, not. Don't say destruieron. It's with a Y. Same applies, like I said, to UIR, so construir is the same. Here's a full rundown. So the yo, to, and nosotros forms are normal. Construir, construiste, construimos, but then the L and the eos form change with the Y's. Ellos construyeron el edificio hace un año. They built the building a year ago. Okay, here's arguably the most difficult part of the preterite. I didn't even know this existed for a really long time. So I think this one you should pay attention to. It's the double stem change. So essentially some verbs like sentir, morir, pedir, dormir have a stem change in not only the present tense, also the preterite. So this occurs like the other one, like this one with the singular and plural. That's only where it occurs in the L, ea, usted, and eos, eas, and ustedes forms. So if you ever see, usually morir will show like this thing, meaning the first thing in front of the comma is the present tense, this ue, and then just the u is the preterite. So in the singular form, in the present tense, you'd have el muere. However, in the preterite, el murió, or eos murieron. So the second half is normal, like the ieron part, eos. However, instead of morieron, like according to the o there, it changes to a u. Same with the singular. So the same applies to dormir, el duerme, in the present, and then el dormio in the preterite tense. So for pedir, it's just I and I, so it's not el pedio, it's el pidio. Ellos pidieron. And the same with sentir, el siente, el sintio, ellos sintieron, not el sentio. Okay, here's some very hard verbs, and hopefully you just gotta get lucky the teachers won't ask you about this, but it's still worth memorizing, like the IE to the I for preferir and divertir, or divertir say. So preferir, preferire, but this is just preferio, or ellos preferieron. I'd say maybe study that one a little bit. Same with divertir. In present, el se divierte, then el se divertio. Ellos se divirtieron. Not with an E, not se divertieron. Divirtieron. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully you can understand that for verbs, these couple verbs, and there are other examples, definitely remember that. Keep that in mind. So verbs that end in CIR, I guess similar to the UIR, verbs that end in CIR have J's instead of C's in their preterite conjugation. So conducir, traducir, decir. Conducir, yo conduje. Tu condujiste, condujo, condujimos, condujeron. Not condujeron, just condujeron. J-E. Same with decir, yo dije, dijiste, dijo, dijimos, dijeron. That's arguably the most important one on the page. Traducir, traduje, tradujiste, tradujo, tradujimus, tradujeron. And then traer, despite not being CIR, still with the J's. And you kind of just like tell, if you just attempt to conjugate it like yo deci, yo deciste, it sounds a little bit wrong. So the J just seems kind of natural to add in there. Like you would never say nosotros traducimos or traducieron. I mean, it sounds wrong, so you have to put in tradujimos or tradujeron. So here are some examples. This is decir. Ellos me dijeron eso. Told me this. Yo conduje el coche con prisa. I drove the car in a hurry. Trajiste un regalo. That's for traer. Did you bring a gift? And una vez para la tarea de español tradujimos una historia a inglés. Once for Spanish homework, we translated traducir. Nosotros tradujimos una historia a inglés. Okay, next, reflexive verbs. So they're basically the same thing. You take them ne, te, se, nos, os, or se, and just add it on. So yo me acosté ya for acostarse, or me acosté ya. The yo doesn't really matter. So you'd say I went to bed already. Then ducharse, ella se duchó. The normal conjugation, that doesn't change. You just add the se. And then like I showed before, divertir se. If you add the se instead of just normal divertir, you'd say ellos se divertieron. You have to include, even though you could get caught up in the I and then forget the se in front of it. The I change. So I guess just remember that. Next we have verbs like gustar. So this is when you have the me, te, le, nos, or less. And then you can do vosotros if you want, but whatever. And for those, I guess you know how in the normal gustar you'd say me gusta or me gustan. You wouldn't say me gusto, like you don't say that. So you'd say me gusta or me gustan, the singular or the plural forms. That's what you do in the preterite too. So for singular it's the O, and then plural is the RO, like the normal preterite conjugation. So el le gustó la bebida. However, if you have the plural instead of bebida, you have bebidas. Say el le gustaron las bebidas. The first one, he liked the drink versus he liked the drinks. Gusto and then gustaron. So this applies to other verbs, like as you see here, some other verbs kind of like that act like gustar, like you know gustar how it works. The me gusta, say me importa, me interesa, like that. If you didn't know that, these verbs apply, and then the same with the O or the RO in the preterite. However, if it's ERIR, for example, parecer or doler, you'd use the singular and plural conjugations for the ERI or EO and IRO. So me pareció rara la chica, or me parecieron raras las chicas. Maybe something like that. One more example for encantar, that's a pretty common one. Nos encantaron las galletas que hiciste anoche. We enjoyed the cookies. So because it's the cookies, encantaron. For example, if it was the cookie, or if you'd say I enjoyed the cookie, you'd say me encantó la galleta. Okay, so moving on. So I know this is about the preterite, but I have to be able to like talk about this, I guess. The imperfect and the preterite definitions or translations of verbs actually change. So for example, querer in the preterite means to try, while in the imperfect it means to want. And same with other words, like saber is important, so you'd say to find out versus to know. Like clearly those are pretty different. Conocer, to meet versus to know. It's pretty important. So study this. This is from Spanish Dict. They have a nice article about this and talking about this, so I'd maybe recommend looking at this. Okay, so I don't want to spend that much time on it, but this is just, you have to memorize this. I can go through all of it. I will a tiny bit, and there's just a lot of verb conjugations you just have to know. So for example, saber, it's not yo sabi, it's yo supe with P's. However, it still follows the same with the E, iste, o, imos, ieron, just there's a P instead of the B in normal saber. So for hacer, this is definitely the one you should know the most, in my opinion. Yo hice, tu hiciste, él hizo, nosotros hicimos, and ellos hicieron. So yo hice la tarea, I did the homework. Venir is pretty important too. Yo vine, viniste, vino, venimos, vinieron. This one's essentially like the normal, or it's like the same as the saber, like with the iste, just there's an N, or an IN, I mean. So for querer, this one is kind of like I was saying, it means to try. So quise, quisiste, quiso, quisimos, quisieron. So yo quise reparar la computadora. I tried repairing, not I wanted to repair. So if you wanted to say I wanted to repair, you'd use yo quería, which is the imperfect version. Not the impreterite, that's not a thing. For poder, it's yo pude, pudiste, and those mean to manage, not to be able to. That's another weird one. So here, even more you're gonna have to study. These are also very important. Estar and andar, they like to quiz you on a lot, and especially tener, dar, and ver. So just you have to study up, I guess. You can stop and read this. I'm not gonna go into all of them, but definitely know these if you don't already. So here's some verbs you think are regular but are actually normal verbs. Pasar, maybe, that's yo pase, pasaste, paso, pasamos, pasaron. Salir is actually normal, so yo salí, tu saliste, salimos, salieron, salió. And then conocer is normal, so conocí, conociste, conoció. And one phrase I thought I should just include is que pasó, what happened. So for example, que pasa, what's up? Change to que pasó, like what happened. Okay, and then lastly, verbs that include other verbs inside them. So for example, predecir. Obviously, it's like normal decir, but there's pre in front of it. So I guess going back to review, decir is yo dije, dijiste, dijo, dijimos, dijeron. But adding the pre doesn't change that. It still conjugates decir irregularly. You just add the pre. So you want to say I predicted, it's yo predije. Like I said is yo dije. So you take the dije and then you just add the pre in front of it. It's not predecir. The pre does not cancel out the special decir part. Same with other verbs like rehacer, to redo, deshacer, to undo. It's not rehaci. It doesn't make it normal for no reason. It keeps the hacer part irregular. So rehice, rehiciste, rehizo, rehicimos, rehicieron. Yeah, and that is pretty much every single irregular. In the preterite tense, you're essentially fluent in the preterite now. Thanks for watching. See ya.